Elon Musk's 6 productivity rules. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Zach, and if you're new to the channel, learn all the secrets of the e-commerce world simply by subscribing to my channel and hitting that little bell icon so you don't miss anything. And in this video, I'm going over something a little bit different and something that actually a lot of people have been asking me to do, where it's more kind of the business side of things, the more entrepreneurial, the more like productivity stuff, lifestyle, all that. I really want to start doing more of this stuff on my channel, and I thought that this was a great introduction to starting to put this stuff on here. And in this video, I'm going over Elon Musk's 6 main steps to productivity. So come on, everyone knows who Elon Musk is, the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, absolute powerhouse of a man, perhaps one of the most accomplished businessmen of our time, or of pretty much history. Now, he is not known for being the absolute best employer, with his companies having massive amounts of turnover rates and working people to the bone, but you have to admit that the dude is an absolute powerhouse when you look at him from the business perspective. And that's why I feel like these 6 things that he told his Tesla employees in an email are ridiculously valuable, and they can be applied to pretty much every aspect of a business that you're running, whether you're creating electric cars or you're just running your own online store. It all holds some weight. So let's go ahead and go over all 6 of these things. I'm going to give my opinion on all of them. They're all super important, so I highly recommend that you stay very, very attentive. So I'm actually going to take the Elon approach to this, and I'm going to combine numbers 1 and 2. Number 1 and 2 is get rid of big meetings and ditch frequent meetings. So yeah, I'm combining these because honestly, this can be dumbed down to screw meetings. And I'm not saying, oh, screw meetings entirely, screw planning, you don't need any of that. Go Rambo style, go absolutely wild and see what happens. No, that's not it at all. What he's saying here, and what I'm saying here, is that there's a certain extent to where you can have meetings to where they stop being helpful. And meetings in like the business aspect, but meetings can also kind of mean a little bit of kind of like research before you actually jump into things. So largely my business experience is with e-commerce, and something that I've really noticed that people do when it comes to like this meeting style in e-commerce is they do a lot of research before jumping into things, which is great. You always want to do research, you always want to know what to expect, you always want to have a solid game plan. However, people take this to the extreme, and they do research beyond what is necessary, and they worry about things that are not necessary to worry about, either at all or not in the moment, and they don't actually take action to start making progress in their business. And this is what hinders people immensely. I've seen people comment, they're like, oh, I've been watching videos for a few months, I think I'm finally ready to start. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you had spent that time working on a business and trying things out for yourself, while also supplementing it with a few videos and a few informational things, you would have seen much better results. And hell, you could even be bringing in money at this point had you started. But people worry so much about this stuff that they're really not getting anything done. And so what Elon's saying here is, come on, like, we'll have meetings if they're necessary, but why do them when they're not necessary? Use a little bit of logical thinking here, and don't waste our time focusing on these things when they're not necessary. Number 3, leave a meeting if you are not contributing. And this one's a little bit tough. I'm going to read you what he says right here. Walk out of a meeting or drop off a call as soon as it is obvious you aren't adding value. It is not rude to leave. It is rude to make someone stay and waste their time. And this isn't necessarily applicable to every single employee or every single venture that you're having, right? This is definitely more for like the higher ups, and especially the culture has to kind of encompass this to where people can just immediately leave. Like if you're just in a meeting and you're like, all right, dudes, I'm out, and then you leave, people are gonna be like, what the hell? But basically what he's saying here is that time is very, very valuable amongst people. And if you are not really bringing anything to the table when you're collaborating with other people, it may be best to not try and waste their time. Now, you can sit there and you can gain information from them, but don't try and pass yourself off as knowledgeable when you're actually not, or you're just wasting time in this aspect, because overall it's just going to harm everybody. And if you're not getting any anything out of the conversation, then don't have them worrying about you, right? And this really comes down to just efficiency. And that's something that this man has absolutely down to a T. Works like 100 hours a week. He basically sleeps in his office. He's a very, very efficient person, and this really contributes to that. Now, can you walk out of a meeting whenever you have it? No. I mean, this is a very kind of niche thing for his business, but the general idea of not wasting time, valuing other people's time, and realizing when things are beyond your reach is actually very, very valuable, and you can kind of tweak that in any way that would best benefit you. 4, drop jargon, and any government job absolutely needs to enact this. He says, don't use acronyms or nonsense words for objects, software, or processes at Tesla. In general, anything that requires an explanation inhibits communication. We don't want people to have to memorize a glossary just to function at Tesla. And I think this is absolutely genius, and I mean, like, it just makes sense, right? It's very, very simple, because yeah, people try and get like these acronyms, and they try and kind of shorten processes, and they think that people really understand what's going on. And while it may seem like things save time, the amount of time that you spend actually explaining these things and making sure everybody understands what's going on is actually wasting more time. So I'm kind of reaching here, trying to branch this out to other aspects of business. But basically, this can really say, hey, don't just kind of assume other people that you're working with, either your coworkers, your partners, or your customers, understand the entire process. You want to find a very happy middle ground between a detailed explanation and a very shortened explanation, right in the middle, to where you're still very succinct in what you say, but you say everything that needs to be said, so nothing is left up to the imagination. That doesn't leave any room for error, and you're just, once again, just very efficient with the time that you have in speaking. And I absolutely love this, and I think that pretty much all businesses should utilize this. They should aim not for efficiency to the point of just becoming kind of pointless with speaking, but they should be efficient in knowing the minimum amount of things that you need to say to still get your point across to pretty much everybody involved. Number 5, communicate directly irrespective of hierarchy. And what he means by this is, I mean, he's got a little long section here, but basically he's like, communication should travel via the shortest path necessary to get the job done, not through the chain of command. And good Lord, this is how a business should be run, both on the inside of things and on the, kind of the outside customer service aspect of things, because people think that there needs to be like this whole chain of command set up. There's like the people at the top, and people have to work their way through them to get up there. That's not it at all. And while that can help some things in being efficient and being a little bit better and easier to deal with, it can also cause a lot of problems where people have to jump through a lot of loops and waste a lot of other people's time, when if they were to just have direct communication or a direct line of contact with other people that were working directly with the information that they need, they would see better results, right? So this is great for any type of company that has multiple employees. It's very important to know who's working with what and all that stuff. But additionally, I'd say this is beneficial in any venture that you have when it comes to customers, and this also really helps with customer service. What I mean by that is it's really, really nice to offer customer service that offers a direct problem solving to customers, right? Customers do not like jumping through hoops. In e-commerce, if you're drop shipping especially, you're going to have a lot of customer questions and complaints, so it's really good to know how to deal with this. And having customers not have to jump through hoops and giving them a solution to their problem immediately is going to result in a lot happier customers and then better conversions. They'll probably come back to you if your customer service is good. So this strategy of cutting the crap and just getting straight to the point and knowing what needs to be done in a certain situation results in just better results overall, whether it be the internals of a company or the externals in its relationships with its customers. Number 6, follow logic, not rules. And I think this is absolutely genius, and once again it has some limits which I'll talk about, but in this section he says, in general, always pick common sense as your guide. If following a company rule is obviously ridiculous in a particular situation, such that it would make for a great Dilbert cartoon, then the rule should change. And I think this is awesome, and I think that it shows that he's woke in the aspect of sometimes rules are not all-encompassing, and that it's very hard to make an all-encompassing set of rules for a massive business when it has all these different variables going on, because it may not make sense and it may lower the efficiency of something while there aren't any obvious drawbacks to not abiding by this rule, right? So follow logic, not rules. And I think this can also be put into really any venture that you have going for you. So there are a lot of rules of business that you should definitely follow. They've been tried and true. It just makes sense to do things certain ways, right? However, there are some things that people are like, oh, you got to do this to succeed, or you got to do this. And you see this a lot with a lot of like e-commerce YouTubers, right? They're like, oh, if you don't do it this way, you won't see results. And then people try and do it the way that they're saying and the way that they kind of like preach, and then it doesn't necessarily work for them. So what's going on here is that people aren't really thinking logically, and they aren't trying things out for themselves. And this is where results are really going to start to show. When you're trying things out for yourself and you're testing out different things that other people may not be doing, but it may work for you, right? For an example, when I was running Facebook ads, people are always like, oh, run conversion, PPE doesn't get you crap. I tested PPE ads, and it actually made sense for the niche that I was selling in and my target audience, that PPE ads would perform better. And I've actually gotten a much better return on investment from PPE ads. And PPE stands for page post engagement. I'm sorry, I used an acronym. I'm destroying his rules. I know he's gonna fire me. But because I kind of went my own way and I used a little bit of logical thinking here, I was able to realize a better strategy for advertising my products than other people were saying. And this resulted in better profit and just a better result for my business. And that's just a very small example of how you can just use logical thinking and a little bit of creative thinking to go against what other people are saying. Once again, there are some fundamental laws of business that you need to abide by. However, a lot of the time there's a lot of variability that you can actually experiment with and see what's working best for yourself. And I think he recognizes this amazingly. I'm sure he still has a lot of like requirements and a lot of structures within the business. However, I do believe that he does have a lot of creative freedom for people if they do believe that they can actually find better results that way. So one of the most productive men in the entire world at the moment wrote this email to his employees and gave 6 of the main steps for being a very, very productive business person. And I think all of these can be used no matter what business you're running. Of course, he wrote these in the perspective of actually having an electric car company or a rocket ship company. But if those companies can function, good lord, function with those rules, then I mean pretty much any other business can to an extent. So I just thought this was ridiculously cool, and I really hope you guys found it helpful as well. And hey, if you did find this helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I upload videos pretty much every day about e-commerce, marketing, the whole business world in itself. It's really, really awesome. Love to have you as a subscriber. Additionally, go ahead and check out those videos over there. I think you'll find them very, very cool, very helpful, very fun, and I will see you guys in my next video.